Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot, oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here's your host, paranormal researcher Patricia Baker, on the one, the only Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls Radio. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, and I'm here with my co-host, PK. PK, how are you tonight?
Absolutely fabulous. Can't wait for our guest tonight. Couldn't ask for a better day. Yeah, for sure.
All right. That's right. We have tremendously explosive information to be delivered tonight by our guest. He is an expert and master astrologer, Jeff Harman. He's going to join us in just a few minutes. I can't wait to hear what he's got to say. We need to know, because crazy times, we need to know what's coming up.
That's for sure. And everybody has been taking a look at what's been going on at this moment. And a lot of things that are happening right now, it's deal with family, friendships, and coworkers and community. All that stuff is rolled into one. And we've got 2 weeks to kind of sort out some of these things because they deal with last year's stuff, actually. So the best thing I can say is be of service, be aware, and there's nothing wrong with self-love. If we start nurturing ourselves, balance what we do that's better at giving and receiving, then we're going to be okay. Creativity is around all of us. Energy flow, definitely ongoing. But the quality of our relationships, that's what we're going to have to pay close attention to. It's either, well, I use the phrase, pet the puppy, and the puppy's going to love you to death. You kick the puppy's going to bite. So remember that in your relationships. Just a thought, different way of looking at it, but it certainly is a lot better than having. That's right. Difference between putting things out there in a negative way, but look for what is important in relationships. Be the good guy. Give a little bit more. It never hurts. That way, it doesn't matter how it ends up, you'll always feel better because you did the most, and made the mess less for yourself. So that's it.
That's good. Well, that's good advice, as always, PK. Thank you. And I wanted to let people know that they can continue to send me questions about the stem cell therapy that we were talking about, because I know I've received a lot of communications from you guys wanting more information. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can. Whatever I cannot answer, I'm going to refer you directly to the head of the clinic, so that you can discuss your concerns and your questions and bookings and whatever else you want to do with him. So feel free to send me an email. My email is on supernaturalgirls.com. It's also, you can reach me on the Facebook page. And again, I'm always happy to answer questions. I've had the treatment myself. This is my second treatment, so I can relate my experience to you. And I also know other people that have had these treatments, and I can tell you what they've experienced as well. But this is leading edge stuff. This is not traditional healthcare. This is really taking back your power and having something that is an incredible treatment with no side effects whatsoever. So feel free to send me your questions. I'll be happy to respond. And then also the Air Energy Machine, the Weber Endolite Band, all of that is on our homepage, along with liposomal vitamins and a special hydrating water. So take a look at everything we have there. We are not directly selling any of it, but we are letting you know that these are products that we have used, that we know about, and you can get a discount when you buy it from our website. So that's what we've arranged with these providers. And anyways, It's always good to take your health back in your own hands. I don't know if you've looked around lately, if you heard the complaints about our traditional health care, but I've certainly heard them, and it's
it's a joke anymore, unfortunately.
Right, exactly. So anyhow, take a look at our homepage. You'll see everything is there. So tonight we have Jeff Harman, one of our very favorite people in the world, because he comes to us with amazing predictions. He has tremendous insight about everything, the geopolitical climate, the UFO disclosure movement, everything that's going on. Jeff has researched it astrologically, and he has some dynamite stuff to share with us tonight. Now, Jeff, yes, hip, hip, hooray for us, huh? We got him on the show. We're lucky. Jeff is a second... Right. Yes, I know. He is a second-generation and world-renowned master astrologer and spiritual advisor with 47 years of experience. Now, Jeff uses ancient techniques, including classical, Vedic, Naadi, Kabbalistic, and Astro-Location Astrology, combined with decades of Vedic Planetary Gem prescription expertise, and he assists his clients with that as well. And here he is. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Yay!
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on again.
Our pleasure. Yes, yes. So you've been looking into a lot of what's been happening, and we want you to start with whatever you want to start with, because there's so much to go over. So take it away.
Yeah, well, there sure is, isn't there? I wish there wasn't. I liked your opening about health. I think, no matter what goes on in the world, health is such a big thing. I have to tell a quick story. I was up helping my son about a week ago. He's working on a big farm up there, 37-acre farm. And I did some stuff that I haven't done since the 70s. I got to drive bulldozers and front-end loaders, move semis. It was a lot of fun. And I got to tell you, it was fun. And they used to do that kind of work back in the 70s. We used to drive logging trucks and all that. Anyways, the fun thing was I got to do that. But the bad thing was I jammed my back really bad because one of the air ride seats wasn't pumped up, and I came down off a ledge on this big machine that weighed almost 40,000 pounds, and I really torqued my back. So interestingly enough, I brought along, and I always do, my reflexology roller. Move my right arm the next day because I jammed my spine so hard. And I got on the reflexology roller, and it's called a Reflex Roller USJ 101. And I talk about this, by the way, I want to do a shout-out. We've got a new podcast that's been going. It's Jeff Harman Astrology, and it's really fun. I've got a co-host that works with me. And the cool thing is we've been promoting reflexology because it is something you can begin to take your own health in your own hands. And I cannot say enough, I literally, within 2 to 3 hours on that reflex roller machine, I was able to break up all the crystals on the right side of my foot that were connected to the arm and the shoulder up in C3 in my neck, which is the third vertebrae. And I literally went back to work. And I have to tell you, you were asking me what the noise was before, before the show. I was on my reflex roller, and it just loosens me up. And I have a quick story because I want to get to the astrology here. My grandmother in 1982 was 75 years old. She was born in 1907, and the doctors wanted to take her kidneys out. So I brought her to the doctor, because, and my mother was actually a specialist in hemodialysis. So I got to see a few things about, kidneys. Anyways, growing up in the 60s and the 70s. Anyways, long story short, I listened to the doctor, and on the way home, I said to my grandmother, I said, you want to try something? She says, yeah, I'll try anything. So I got her on reflexology, hydrangea root, gravel root, marshmallow root, and goldenrod tea. Do you know that she died at 102 years old?
Oh, God bless her soul. Wow.
That's
tremendous.
Not a bad run, 102 years old. And she did not have kidney failure. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yes. But, this is the thing. You're raising the issue and you're preaching to the choir with us and our audience. We have to take things back to our own hands, or we are at the mercy of a medical system that has no resolution for a lot of these illnesses. I mean, it's great for emergency medicine, and I have much praise for that. But when it comes to chronic illness and all of these other lifestyle diseases, you can't get help there. And, a lot of people.
Like their diagnostics, medicine has a lot of great things. The MRIs, the blood tests, the lab work, all that is very good, but that's looking at results and not looking at causes. That's why I love reflexology, because you can actually find the organs and meridian points that are blocked, and that points you in a direction that is very, very powerful. And, you can still take that up with a doctor and get things checked, but parasite cleansing is such a huge thing. Anyone who doesn't think they have parasites, I got news for you. If you're a herbivore, carnivore, it doesn't matter. You're going to get parasites. If you eat, you're going to get Yep.
No,
so
that's all true.
Those are so important.
It helps. Well, they found, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'll just share this, and then we got to get right into all this exciting prediction.
Yeah,
but MS, terrible disease. And they always found these little spots in people's brains, and they just never knew what they were until they brought in a parasite expert. Just recently, this happened. And he looked at all of these MRIs and said, those are parasites, all those things that you see in the brain. So out of, I think, 100 autopsies of MS patients, they found parasites in 100 of them. So they're now taking a look at all of that, and certainly it's all over social media about the effect that parasites have for cancer, autoimmune.
Huge.
It is. It's
one of the
crazy
best
huge.
books, if you can get it. Yeah, Dr. Helga Clark, they made her life hell, but she advocated wormwood, black walnut hull tincture, cured from the green hulls, and also the cloves. And I also might say Hannah Kroger's book, Parasites, the Enemy Within. It's very hard to get right now. I think I paid $5 for mine back in the 80s, and now it's ridiculously expensive. But if you can acquire that book, that is an elegant book, because it gives all these herbal remedies, treatments to kill parasites. And it's all natural vibrations of plants, which you cannot. We did a whole special on my YouTube about medical astrology, how the ancient apothecaries would actually use astrology to not only help determine what the imbalances were, but also when to administer certain types of herbs. And, of course, Ayurvedic astrology is also exceedingly useful in that, which is a branch of Vedic astrology. It's really fun stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love the Vedic stuff. It's so powerful.
Yeah, oh, God.
But this is all helpful information, I know, to our audience. So let's start with what you see coming. Where do you want to go first? The White House, UFOs? Where do you want to start?
It's all going on, isn't it? Well, I would say, what I've been saying for years, 2020 was a major trigger point. And if we roll the clock back, when we look at where are we now, it really commenced in 2020. And years ago, I remember I was on George Norrie's Coast to Coast, wonderful program, and he said, Jeff, what do you think of the Mayan calendar? And I said, not a single thing. I said, I can't come up with anything for the Mayan calendar or other things, but watch out from 220 forward. And this is exactly what happened. We had the scamdemic. Did I say scam? I meant plandemic. I meant pandemic. But anyways, we had COVID come in. Sorry, I blew up.
Yep.
Anyways, this whole thing, not only did the COVID, in my opinion, was scheduled. I really believe that. They knew, and I say they, I'm not talking about the politicians, the Democrats, and the Republicans, because forget them. That's in the District of Criminals, also known as D.C. What I'm talking about is the owners, like George Carlin talked about, at the top of the pyramid. These are the guys who are pouring the M&Ms into the chocolate machine, which is the financial machine that runs this whole Western world. And I think there's a big plan, and we have a plan right now going down, and it's been going down ever since 2020, because not only do we have COVID, but we also saw the fiascos politically that were going on. And not to get into the elections and all that, which we know were stolen, but the bottom line is the agendas that have been in play. I mean, you look at, Biden, he can't find his way on and off the stage, let alone
exactly.
If it's even him all the time. But anyhow, the bottom line is we're seeing an orchestrated effort at the top of the pyramid to destroy life as we know it. And it's not just happening in the United States, it's happening globally, and particularly in the Western world. And this whole climate change, Bruce, and I'm not saying, it's summertime. You're always going to get heat in the summertime. In fact, I put out a YouTube channel talking about the heat exchanges in the 1929 area, and late 20s and early 30s was much hotter than now. Any scientist who's worth their salt will report that. That was scientific data. And this is the sunspots and other things. It's not farting cows and SUVs and diesel trucks, even though, it's good to clean up the air. So they're using all of this, in my opinion, to bring in a new agenda. And I think their agenda is leaning towards digital currency. They want to decimate the middle class. You look at the war on energy. I think it was in the late 70s, early 80s, I was introduced to a situation where they had hydrogen perfected. It wasn't a theory, it was perfected. And it's been long known the military's been using cracked water for a long time. That's the nickname for hydrogen. You can get from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, also known as Las Vegas, for about a gallon of water, believe it or not, with hydrogen. Hydrogen is exceedingly efficient. And can we say there's a little water on the planet? I actually rode up the Grapevine in the 90s with a friend of mine who took a 350 pickup truck, hollowed out a Sears Diet-Hard battery, can't even find Sears anymore, and they had it so that an aluminum rod would catch the oxygen. No, the aluminum rod caught the hydrogen, and the copper rod caught the oxygen. It was so flammable, he had to water the motor down. He had to water it and mist it. And that thing just flew up the Grapevine. I don't know if you've ever been up the 5 Grapevine, but it is steep. Anyways, long story short, this whole thing, to unplug us, it's driving up the costs everywhere. Plus, as George Washington warned, if you want to destroy a country, loot the treasury. And that's exactly what they're doing. And they're destroying this place. They're destroying this place. And this is what the astrology says. The United States has a Pluto return going on. And people say, okay, well, I don't believe in Pluto because Pluto's not a planet anymore. The only thing I can say is dynamite comes in small packages too. So does C4. And Pluto acts like a magnifier. The Roman Empire dissolved on a Pluto return. And I've gone back and looked at 9/11 happened on a Saturn-Pluto opposition. The banks crashed on a Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And the effects of these conjunctions go on for years, sometimes 20, 30 years. So we had a Pluto-Saturn conjunction that brought in COVID. And in the Vedic astrology, it was called a Kala Sarpa Yoga. All this, might make your eyeballs cross. But bottom line is, these energies were in the sky. And they're happening right now on the United States most severely. This country will not exist as we know it within 2 years, or it's going to be the phoenix rising out of the ashes. The reason why this fall we have a primary directed Mars conjuncting the moon. Now, people might say, what does that mean? Well, each year after the birth of a nation or the birth of an individual, you have what they call primary directions. It's just a fancy word that means every year planets are moved forward 1 degree in a year's increment. It's not exact, but pretty close. So according to the computations that I have on the birth chart of the United States, this November, between now and this November, we got hell coming to breakfast. And next year, we have the Pluto return, and we have a primary directed Saturn conjuncting the Mars. And that happens just before the election next year. And now we look at Donald Trump, we look at Biden. I mean, Biden has clearly been caught with his panties down. He's absolutely, he's a total barefaced liar. Of course, he might have a mask on, some of his imposters. But the bottom line is he's been caught red-handed. And I think we may see not only Biden get impeached, but it's very possible Garland, Mayorkas, and Wray could also be on the chopping block. If that happens, you're going to make the owners who run this place really mad, because when you look at people like Dick Cheney, who surfaces, to proclaim how horrible Donald Trump is, and you see them lurking in the shadows, and the real ones who are running everything are the top of the pyramid. These are the people above the Bank of International Settlements. These are the people really running this place. And it ain't the politicians. The politicians dance to it. When you look at Vanguard, BlackRock, and other companies, even Klaus Schwab and George Soros are foot soldiers compared to who's really running this place. And these are the people. I believe that there is a war going on between globalists who really want to decimate America and all free sovereign countries and turn them into complete AI slave states. I mean, AI is a wet dream for them because they know, and so is digital currency, because they know they will be able to literally alter society beyond any recognition we've ever known. It's going to make 1984 look like a cakewalk.
Yeah, that's a horrible option, but it certainly is possible. And, what's it going to take? When you look at the stars in this, what's it going to take to get Biden impeached and all these other idiots gone?
I think it's coming.
What is it going to take?
I think it's coming. I really do. What's happened is they've manipulated even the midterms, and I know I'll get called a conspiracy theorist for this, but they have. And when you look at the money,
we agree.
That they have. You look at the money that's poured in and the manipulation that goes on. I think they're probably going to dust off Newsom. They'll take him out, also known as Gavin Newsom. I call him Bruce, but he has
a good name for him.
It is. Well, you look at what they're doing to this country. It's not. I don't think Biden has, an IQ above room temperature, actually, and I really think he's probably. Yeah, right. Even that high, right? And that's on a cold day. But I really think we've got some stuff going on here that is very dangerous, and we have a war between the globalists and the nationalists. And when you look at the indictments on Trump and all these other people, this shows you just how manipulative and how powerful they are. And I think it was Thomas Jefferson said it best. He says, if we ever let barristers into the White House or into prominent places of politics, which were barristers were originally known as attorneys, we're going to see the Constitution get constantly whittled away. Well, what's been happening? Look at the Patriot Act. And all of
what we're watching is, Jeff, it's terrible. And so again, my question is the same. It's like,
it's the destruction of the country.
Yeah, and what's it going to take to stop it? Because we know that we're fighting a battle with some heavy hitters that do want to destroy the country. They've already destroyed the country in a lot of ways. And how do we stop it? I mean, what level of consciousness has to occur?
Well, and then you've got the BRICS nation. The BRIC nation meets literally in 6 days, 22nd of August. It starts. Well, this is now a liaison between all the BRICS nations, which are several nations involved, that are going to replace the petrodollar. If that happens, and it looks like it might, we are going to be in a lot bigger trouble than we think. This is an enemy who's operating outside of politics. They control our money. Does anyone ever stop and think, where are these trillions of dollars coming from? I mean, do you know how long a trillion seconds is? I always say this on radio shows. If you're 40 years old, you're a little over 1 billion seconds old. If you're 80 years old, you're just a little over 2 billion seconds old. So just to give you an idea what these numbers are. If you are a trillion seconds old, do you know how long a trillion seconds is? It's 11,700 something odd years. I actually did the math about 20 times because I couldn't believe my eyes. A trillion seconds is over 11,700 something odd years. Now that gives you a little concept of where is this money coming from. This is fiat currency. There's nobody who has that kind of collateral. And when we look at what's happening, they are purposely just destroying the dollar. And worse yet, they're cutting off the very sustenance of the economy, which is the petrochemical industry. And it affects everything. I mean, everything in our rooms is touched by probably 99% of petrochemical products. I mean, paints, dyes, papers, everything is made with it. Mm-hmm. And electric cars are creating more pollution by the time you design the batteries and you charge them than anything coming out the tailpipes of any fuel machine. And this is a ruse to destroy us. Forbes just came out with a wonderful article. He was just saying, he said, I forget his name, but Steve Forbes. He said, and Larry Kudlow too, they're saying this Inflation Act is precisely the opposite. It's just like 1984. Good is bad and bad is good. And they're literally thought policing us. Before long, the internet, I see this is why we're seeing the decimation of the middle class stores. And then, the last time the Fed raised interest rates was right before the Depression, during a recession.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the last time the Fed raised interest rates during a recession, and the mind control news is telling us, everything's fine, it's going to be great. Bidenomics is going to turn everything around. I don't know what they're smoking, but I can tell you every economist that I speak to and listen to is saying exactly the opposite. Watch your money. In fact, that's going to be our next podcast coming out on Friday, because watch your money. It's really scary where they're taking us. The question is will it be stopped? And this is interesting stuff, because now you start getting into extraterrestrials, and I'd also say terrestrial beings. They'd like to, I think, wipe out half the human race or 3/4 of it, and replace us with AI and people, with leaf blowers and mowing lawns. And I really think that's not going to happen. I hope I'm right in my analysis. But I think this next year is going to be a boat ride like we've never seen. And that's what the astrology shows, especially in the U.S. It is going to be unprecedented. We're already seeing that. Look at Donald Trump. Look at all these people indicted. Look at the economy. Mm-hmm. It's insanity.
It's frightening.
Yeah, and
the United States
I do think
has. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that there's so much greed. I mean, all these politicians and all these media people, they're bought. I mean, there are people that are getting bags full of cash. And I'll tell you what my opinion is of why Congress is all of a sudden so all over this UFO stuff. It's because there are trillions of dollars involved. And they haven't lined their pockets with it yet. So that's my opinion. I think that's why they're making such a brouhaha.
It may be a
Pardon
diversion.
Me?
I
think it is a diversion to some degree, but I think
agree with that.
some of the people that are, in fact, most, they haven't been getting their cut with all of this money that's been funneled into these dark op projects. They're being cut out. They've been cut out of it for a long time. So it's not that they're cut out of the information. They're cut out of the money. Do you think they really give a shit if people in this country know the truth about UFOs or not? They could care less. What they want to know is, what's my cut, and how come I'm not getting it? That's how I see it.
Yep. George Carlin said it right. Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. And they continue to elect these rich, and I won't say what he said after that, but I can tell you he's right. And Vanguard was busted, one of the headhunters, saying, oh, yeah, we can buy off any politician.
Yeah,
I
true.
mean, look at even Mike Pence. He just bought this huge mansion. And, you know, you can tell that they're all in the fold. That's the old term, in the fold. That means you're with us. And if you're not, you look what happens to the people who are not. They're either going to kill Trump legally or they're going to kill him physically. I think they'll do anything to keep him out of the White House. Here's what's interesting about Donald Trump's chart. He lost that election exactly when primary-directed Uranus crossed his ascendant. That's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. He actually was elected president right when his primary-directed sun crossed the ascendant. And, you know, I remember saying Donald Trump's going to win in 2016. And everybody's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, well, not according to astrology. And he's got Uranus crossing his midheaven 3 times next year. That is unprecedented. That can only happen once, 86 to 87 years. So that's a once-in-a-lifetime aspect.
But what does that mean for Donald Trump? I mean, is he going to be our next president?
It means
or
a roller coaster ride. Well, he could be, because what's such an enigma with him is if they don't kill him and he gets through this, he actually could be, because he's got Jupiter transiting his midheaven exactly when the primaries start. Kill him several times.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 camps. I think there's, a lot of times actually, not several. I think there's 2 camps. I think there's the globalists and the nationalists. And I think the war is going on far above Washington. When you look at all the black ops stuff that's going on, the child trafficking, the underground bases, the secret weaponry, you know, everybody seems to worry about nuclear weapons, which is certainly something to worry about. But they have directed energy weapons, they have particle beams, they have literally lasers, and like really strong lasers and particle beams. We've perfected fission, from what I've heard. Up at Skunk Works, they've got planes now they can keep in the air for as long as they want until the rivets fall out of the wings. They can do unmanned craft. And what's more amazing about that is they have lasers on them, and not just little ones. We're talking really powerful lasers. So all this crap about supersonic missiles, they can knock those out of the sky in a nanosecond, actually probably quicker than that. And the stuff that's going on, I think whoever ends up with the keys to all this stuff, which is where the war is really going on, is going to be what determines whether this country still stands as we know it. I tend to lean towards we might be the phoenix rising out of the ashes. I just think this next year and a half, 2 years is going to be really rough getting there. I think we're going to see hell come to breakfast. I really do. We already have. We just don't know it fully. Look at the cities. Police departments are walking away. You've got DAs patting people on the back. Hey, you going to vote for me, kid? Good. Get back out there and kill somebody else. They don't care. This is not someone who's trying to help people. This is out and out direct destruction of a sovereign society and nation, and that's what it is. It's literally
on a day-to-day basis.
I mean, we're also and we're seeing it in Massachusetts with our idiot governor, who thinks it's great to have all these illegals come flooding in, and now she stands up like a jerk and says, I want you to take these people into your private homes. And everybody is saying, go screw yourself, lady. You know, we don't want these people here in our state, let alone in our homes.
Yeah.
You know, this is your bright idea.
She's not taking anybody in.
Yeah, you can bet on it. You can bet on it.
Yeah.
So, it's
well,
like, you're right.
It's very transparent. It's very transparent. They want absolute mayhem and chaos in this country in
They've
every
got
way. They're shutting down the energy systems. They're literally making money unavailable. Now they're coming at us with the IRS. See, this is the best technique in the world to hit somebody with lawsuits from every angle. And that's what they're doing to Trump. That's what they're doing to many others now. And you're going to see the same thing happen to us with the IRS. I mean, man, pay your taxes and have all your ducks in a row because they are coming for your money. This is very dangerous right now. And this is a direct attempt, I think, to scuttle this country. I really do. There's no other logical reason for it.
No, it's absolutely obvious.
That's what the astrology says. If you look at the charts, it's all over it.
What country do you feel is our worst enemy at this point in time?
Good question.
Well, I think China and Russia both are banding together.
Right.
And I think this whole Rus and Ukraine, I mean, RFK Jr. was right on his last interview talking about the biolabs and all the stuff that's going on. China is the model. I think our greatest is the New Order bankers. I really do. Those are the ones who are really running the show because they love China's model. They want the face recognition. They want everything. Even Zoom now. You can't even get on Zoom unless you agree that they can use your face recognition and anything you say and do on Zoom. And we're coming into a very – they own it. They own it. And I use Zoom a lot. It's a wonderful tool for readings. And it's really a shame. And this is, again, a wet dream for them because anything you say, anything you do, anything you text, anything you transmit over the internet or digital, they got it. And people think you should watch Enemy of the State. That was cool 30 years ago. I could tell you what they got now. They don't have people sitting in cubicles, listening. They have literal algorithms parsing everything you do, not where you shop, but what you think like, what you do, what your probabilities are. They have profiles built on every single human being on this planet, particularly in the United States. And that's all parsed so that anyone who wants to access it, it's all right there. The computing power that they have is scary. Right? Scary.
Yeah,
way beyond what they're telling us to have.
Absolutely. Well, we have a question, Jeff, from somebody who's calling in. Let me pick this up. This is somebody calling in from area code 980. So let me get them on here live. Let's see. Hi, you're live on the air. Who's calling in?
Hi, my name is Brittany. How are you?
We're good. Do you have a question for Jeff?
I just call in to simply do a general, whether it's love or career. Do you guys do that, or do you need a specific question?
No, you can have a specific question. Go ahead.
So I just called to see what you guys see for as my love life. What are you picking up?
We're working on the world, sweetheart, right now.
That's all right. A question is a question. Let's see. So you're looking for a relationship. Well, I can't sugarcoat this one. It shows not right away. You just had some big change, didn't you, not too long ago. I would say you're probably looking before something in that area is going to change. It could be somewhere close to a year and a half. And I'm being careful here on timing. But something like that. It's not without hope. It's just not right away.
Okay.
Yeah, just not right away. And I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope you hang up the phone and meet somebody as you turn around.
No.
But
that'd be great.
I can only tell you what the chart says. The chart says, keep the faith. It'll come around later, but not right now. Right now it shows, you might be kind of backpedaling a little bit. It's what it shows on relationships. Just for a short while here. Yeah. So I hope that helps you.
Oh, that's fine. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for calling in.
Hang in there. Yeah, you bet.
Okay.
So, Jeff, let's take a segue here into the UFO disclosure events. Like, let's talk about this and how you see this. What is it really? I mean, to me, it's so much nonsense because we've known this for so many years. And now they're coming out as if they're giving us this blessing that, yes, it's real. We still don't know what it is, but here it is. It's like, it's so stupid. But I want to know what you see and what you think about this.
Well, I don't know what I think about it. I think, what I see in the charts is they're going to use anything to obscure what's really going on. This is more of, look over here, folks, while we blow smoke up your rear end. It's more of a mirage thing. I think they've been involved with extraterrestrials. I mean, I remember back in the late 60s, early 70s, I used to chart these things up north. Anyone who lives in rural areas will know that there's been craft around this planet. Speaking of my grandmother, she said in the farm in the early 1900s, they used to see stuff all the time. There's a good friend of mine who was actually, he's a wonderful man, Andy Anderson in northern Wisconsin. He was a school principal, and he and I and his son were riding, again, this is in the 70s, in the mid-70s, and we had a craft follow us in the ditch. Camille and I used to go to MUFON meetings, and we knew Dr. Lear. He was taking implants out of people. We had met so many, people, Dr. Stephen Greer, so many people who, this is overwhelming evidence that we have been involved with extraterrestrial and terrestrial, I might add, entities. I mean, Admiral Byrd was forced down underneath Antarctica by beings and told, we will not allow you to create nuclear war on this planet. We'll intervene. And I think they will, and I think they have.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they have.
Yes.
I ran into a Marine guy. We were at Fox Studios a couple of years ago, and we were just talking, a bunch of people. And this guy overheard us talking about extraterrestrial stuff. Camille was there. And he said, oh, my God. He says, we've been on a research team. I can't say too much. But he said, off the coast of Malibu out here, it's called Zuma Beach, Point 2. You guys remember I Dream of Jeannie? Remember Larry Hagman?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That opening scene was filmed there with Capsule right on Zuma Beach. A lot of stuff. Baywatch was there, all kinds of stuff. Anyways, Gilligan's Island had a scene there, too. Anyways, long story short, right off that ridge out there, you can see it from satellite. In fact, you can actually see it where the ridge is. They say there is more UFO activity coming in and out of there, and has been for years. It's a huge base underneath there. In fact, I was teaching a class back in the 80s, and one of the students told me his dad was an admiral. He says, oh, yeah, we've been taking submarines almost all the way to Salt Lake City for God only knows how long, since World War II, up underneath the California coast. And so there's something going on that they're not telling us. There's a lot of demonic activity also involved with this.
Oh, really?
Not just, I mean, what is a UAP? What is a UFO? I mean, come on. That's a very abstract term.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this UAP's baloney. It's just trying to rebrand it. They're just trying to take, to me, it looks like they're just trying to take ownership. So it's like, it belongs to us. The Pentagon knows the truth, and we'll tell you when we feel like it. And so they're dribbling these things out, things that we've known forever, and like we should be excited about it. We're not, because we've known it for years. And I've also watched closely the fact that they're not talking about abductees in any of this. It's all focused on the craft, the lights in the sky.
Look at Oh yeah, look at Skinwalker Ranch. The stuff that they're finding there, all the portals, and when you start looking back in time, there's so many wonderful reporters who have reported on this stuff. Eric Von Donigan, of course, Sean Anthony West, so many people. You go back in time. I know I had met, I forget his name. He was the man who wrote the book Left at Eastgate. So wonderful book if anyone wants to read it.
Oh, yeah.
This is a true, amazing. I forget his name. I actually listened to him talk and talked to him afterwards. A wonderful man. He was in the military at a NATO base. I forget where. It might have been France or Germany. I can't remember where. It's in the book. And they all saw this craft come down. And they were all, there's some, I think they had radiation burns. Some had memory losses, all this crazy stuff. And shortly thereafter, all these cement trucks come rolling in, cementing up all the nuclear silos that were not even supposed to be there. And this is back, I think, in the 80s. And so the extraterrestrials have been intimately involved, I think, in human civilization, probably since as far as we know. I mean, it's certainly evidence on many of the researchers reporting on walls and paintings and pyramids and all this stuff. It's all over the place. And, there's so much phenomena that has gone on. And I think this earth is really blessed and really magical. And that's why I always say that the divine is always above. You hear about these horrible, people causing these wars. You look at, of course, everybody knows about Hitler, which was horrible to begin with, and he did kill a lot of people. I know a lot of people say the Holocaust didn't happen. I really believe it did. And look at Mao. I mean, they don't even know how many people Mao killed. I mean, there's guesstimates between 50 and 100 million people. Look at Lenin. I was in the Reagan Library not too long ago, and my jaw dropped. I read Reagan had printed what Lenin's statement was. He says, "We do not care if we kill 3/4 of the human race, as long as the quarter that's left become communists under our rule." I went, Did I just read that? I mean, this is how they think. And this is what we've got going on right now. It's the same mentality. I mean, listen to
It is,
Klaus
but Jeff,
Schwab.
let me ask you a question about why the Pentagon and all of these people are letting these pieces of information out now. What is it in astrology that has brought us to this point? Because there's got to be a reason why now. And I understand both of you have expressed the opinion that it is a distraction. I think that's partially true. But there's got to be another reason why they feel backed into a corner enough to start releasing this all of a sudden.
I think they have been releasing it for a long time. They're just, I think we're seeing anything to take the attention off the criminals in Washington right now. I think it's a lot of a diversionary tactic. And notice they're not coming out with anything definitive. They're just agreeing with a lot of stuff. And there's little reporting, you got Jesse Waters, different people coming up with little shows about it. But nothing too conclusive from what I've seen. I may be wrong. But
no, you're right. There's nothing really conclusive, and it's just talking about the lights in the sky, and we don't know what they are. But I was wondering.
It's just more pablum. It's more pablum to shut us up.
Yeah,
so
because
we aren't focused too much on the Biden criminal syndicate family.
But they are talking about things in a way they haven't talked about them before. My question is, are they getting pressure possibly from Russia and China, who are saying, we're going to reveal this, and you people are going to look like the biggest idiots in the universe because we're going to come out and say, this is real. And we have the proof, and here's the proof. And meanwhile, the U.S. of A. is sitting there spinning around on their chairs going, we just don't know what it is. We just don't know it's not ours.
Yeah.
And it's not, you know what I'm saying? It would be hugely embarrassing to this country if China and or Russia came out and offered the proof that the United States doesn't have the integrity to do.
There's so much stuff that's come out in the past, though. It's pretty definitive. When you look at many shows, they're not doing that much different that I know of. I mean, when somebody walks out on the White House lawn and starts shaking hands with one of them, that's when we're going to really see disclosure. I don't know.
But what about what's happening in Peru right now? There's a small town in Peru.
Oh, yeah.
They're in the jungle, and they're claiming that there's some type of entity, whether it's extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or Project Bluebeam,
I get it.
that's there in their town. So what astrologically is going on about that? Because that's highly unusual that something like that would be reported, but it's being reported.
Yeah, it is. I think part of it might be the internet. There's so many people turning away from the mind control media because everyone knows it's all corporately controlled and owned, and it's all pablum being fed to us in very careful ways. And I think people, they're trying to get them back. I mean, if it wasn't for the government funding a lot of these big organizations and studios, I mean, Hollywood's just a big propaganda machine. It truly is.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
If you ever go on a major lot of a major studio, it almost feels like you're on an Army Corps of Engineers project. It literally is too sophisticated for a bunch of filmmakers to have created. It's very, very well orchestrated and designed. It's a propaganda machine. And I think people are turning away. The internet has really run away with a lot of their watchers and listeners. And that's probably why they're starting to say, well, geez, we might have to start covering some of this stuff more and admitting, So,
well, that's true. We've had some ex-FBI people on the show saying exactly that now that everybody has a cell phone with a camera, they can't cover everything up anymore, and they can't stop it. Yeah. They can't stop it from appearing on the internet. All they can do is try to make it, kind of a fuzzy, not a clear-cut experience, try to drag it through the mud, but there's too many of them. And so that's been their problem. So
that's all it is, folks. Swamp gas from Venus.
But they've told us they've even stopped saying things like that because they can't stop it anymore. And thank God they can. Yeah. They can.
I think it's a lot more like Men in Black than we may know. I really do. It's a lot more like Men in Black than we may know.
I mean, we deserve to know the truth.
Kind of
and
we do.
But one of the biggest problems I see, Jeff, that has gone on for so many years is the disinformation campaign. So rather than giving us the truth and saying, yes, we know this is ET, this is interdimensional, and this is what we do when we, feel like dressing up as ETs or whatever the heck it is they do, they don't want us to know. They just want to keep everything in a level of mystery so that we can never get to the real truth. It's a shame, and I think it's despicable.
There is massive stuff. There is massive stuff going on in underground bases, massive, and some of it is really eerie. Massive.
Yes, some of it's horrible.
I know I've got a couple clients that I can't mention who are connected, and I can tell you my opinion is, Elon Musk owns one of the largest underground tunneling companies, and anybody who thinks that there isn't some real serious stuff going on in these very secret places better take a closer look. And we hear about this horrible child trafficking and human trafficking. I mean, I just can't even fathom that. I mean, it's so horrible how that would be so disruptive to anyone subjected to that. It's just a nightmare. And this adrenochrome stuff, it's absolutely true. And hats off to the guys who are out there making this stuff stop and exposing it. And I can tell you there's a demonic whole world that is very strong. One of the great areas of interest for me is what many psychologists and researchers call consensus reality. And when you think about that, when you look at the hierarchies, our souls come hundreds of dimensions above astrology. And there might be a lot more to the Garden of Eden story than we know. In fact, there's a very parallel to that in the Vedantic literature, the Egyptian, the Chaldean, the Hunas of Hawaii. There is a very well-known element that there are invisible beings in the next dimension up that know how to cross into this reality. And I think the demonic spirits, you know, in the religions, they'll tell us, well, there's the devil, right? It's just a little bit deeper than that. You have Lucifer, Satan, Belial, and Leviathan. You have the same parallels in the Vedantic literature. And what's very fascinating about this stuff, in the Chaldean as well, in the Egyptian lore, and what's very interesting is I think that they're literally intertwined right at the molecular level of creation itself. If you look at quantum physics, they'll tell you all matter is just got space in it, right? Look at the only difference between an atom of gold and an atom of water, or I should say a molecule of water. Of course, you have molecules and atoms. But the building blocks of the atoms is just electrons and protons. And it's literally the amount of valence, what they call valence electrons, in it, and the neutrinos and all these other particles. Well, they say if we could shrink an atom down to its actual particles, that literally a human being might be the size of a grain of sand or less. And it's all space, but it's not. And see, I think there's other etheric energies. This is where you start getting into spirits and souls and astrology. This is why all your hard scientists can't put their finger out and stuff, and they walk away. They shake their head. Oh, there's lunatics, a bunch of crazy stuff. You know, Claude Swanson was a good friend of mine. He just passed away. And poor Claude, he never got the credit he deserved. He wrote a book called The Synchronized Universe. And then he was researching all of these different paranormal phenomena, including UFOs, and spirits, ghosts, and disincarnate souls, and angels, and demons, and trying to tie it into the left brain hard sciences. Well, the problem is you can't directly. You know, you could talk about torsional waves, you could talk about physics and atoms and molecules and quantum this and quantum that, but there is so much more going on to the divinity of reality. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. All life, it's magic, man. This place is divine. It is really divine, but it's also very plagued by the demonic forces who I think are entrapped here, just like the Garden of Eden. They're literally incarcerated right down to the molecular level. That's a lot deeper than, oh, it's a devil, he's going to make me do it. No, this is very deep stuff. And when you start getting into some of the old rabbinical texts, the old Chaldean and the Vedantic and the Naadi texts, you start seeing this stuff, that there are entities and deities that are involved in creation. Like many Christians will realize, you know, oh, the Lazarus story, right? Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. Well, you can't do that according to many of the other techniques unless you have the fourth hierarchy involved. That means Lucifer, Satan, Belial, and Leviathan, and the 8 beneath that, and legions beneath that. So there's a lot more going on planet Earth. I've just seen a UFO. You know, I mean, it's a lot.
Well, no, there is a lot more. And I know you've also brought up the fact that the people that are evil, that are in, you know, behind a lot of this, aren't even human. And I agree with you. I think they're not.
Yeah.
But how do you, you know, I'm just acting like a member of the audience right now. Right. I mean, but here's my question. If we're so divine and we have so much power that we haven't accessed, then we've kind of fallen down on the job because we've let these entities take over. How do you fight this? How do you get them to step down from their position of power? What do you do? What does it say in the stars that people that want our country to be great again, what do we do to make that happen?
I don't know if you can look directly to the stars for that, but I think another place to look, too, is in the knowledge of what this place is, and the religions have sorely failed at exposing that. Most of the truth stuff is laying at the bottom of the Vatican or destroyed or obfuscated and hidden. Who would do that? Only the demonic spirits. And when you start looking into money and the powers and controls and wars, they love wars. Those are ritual sacrifices. You know, Ozzy Osbourne might not have been too far off base, but he said generals are like witches at black masses. They are.
Huh.
Not that all generals are bad. A lot of
Interesting.
There's a lot of There's a lot of great generals, and I have a great respect for a lot of military people. But on the other hand, it's a very interesting thing when you look at these wars. George Carlin was right. War is when old men in business suits send young people off to war for their business interests, and it's very creepy what's going on. It's just like in Ukraine right now. There's a lot of people dying over there, a lot more than we know. And you look at these other wars in other places, Vietnam, of course, we know World War II. But there's so much stuff, and it's so sanitized today because the weaponry is so much more lethal, and it's very specific. And it's when we look at this planet, what can we do about this? I think awareness is one thing. Fear is another. It's like many of the old rabbis and saints and prophets said, go ahead, kill me. You can't kill my soul. You can't kill my spirit. And this gets into Naadi astrology. Why do we keep reincarnating here? Our fine bearded men in Rome threw the doctrines of reincarnation out somewhere between the 1st and the 5th century. No one really knows. I certainly don't. But one thing is for sure, a lot has been hidden from us about who we are. And that has been disempowering us a lot. And I think when we become aware, why do all your occult people, they're really into astrology. I know one of the guys I studied with used to do astrology, electional astrology, for the Rothschilds and in London. And I can tell you, George Washington, our founding fathers, had used electional astrology when they laid the cornerstone of the Capitol. I hope he did a good job because it's certainly under attack right now. But the mystical experiences George Washington had, being visited by angels, and I think we just need to have more maybe inner strength towards having faith in the divine, no matter what your religious or spiritual beliefs are, and trust that the divine always wins. The demonics cause a lot of trouble, and they do. They blow the hell out of this place sometimes. But the divine always wins because creation is always the senior force, and the demonics are the destructive force.
Yes, they are.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
point.
because I don't want to leave our audience feeling hopeless. And with all of what's been going on geopolitically, it's, you can see where people would begin to feel that way. Like, well, what can I do? I'm just one little, peanut on this planet that doesn't agree with the politics that are going on, that doesn't agree with the Biden administration, the crime family, and all of their money that they've been laundering for their own benefit. So there's a lot of people that see that now that didn't see that before, that also may have voted for him. And yet there's also a lot of people that are still, they don't see it. They don't want to see it.
No, they don't see it.
Whatever the reason is, I don't know. So, yes. But there are more people than ever that have joined the ranks of this has got to stop. But, again, it's a difficult, seeing what they're doing to Trump, seeing how they've weaponized the DOJ, the FBI, and now the IRS.
Yeah.
To work for them. This is
none
of these agencies are for us. Yeah, they can come out after any of us at any time, and thank God Trump has the resources and the inner strength to stand up to this. I don't know anybody else who would have that kind of fortitude in the face of this type of thing. It's truly unbelievable what they're trying to do.
They're going to hammer him into the ground. And they are hammering him into the ground. The American legal system is the finest system money can buy, and it is. It really is.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's very hard is the wording. Yeah, for sure. Jeff, what do you feel is the opportunity for the average person to survive all of this garbage that's ongoing? Do you think they'll be able to handle it all, or are they going to give up and throw their hands up and just let it go?
Well, I mean, everybody's an individual, and, everybody's going to experience all this where we're at. I think right now is a really good time to watch your money. I think we are on the precipice of seeing these people at the top of the pyramid really pull some stops out, and they're certainly going to do it on the United States. But then again, I think we're going to get through it. We just need to, I think, be strong. I think it's a good time to have petty cash around and store up a little extra food and water. I also think it's a good time, to diversify. Again, I'm not here telling anybody what to do, but I think I think precious metals are sustainable, but you can't buy a loaf of bread with those either, nor can you buy a gallon of gas. These people are really nasty. I mean, you're dealing with the same mentality. I mean, look at Lenin and Stalin. They actually said, this is getting too expensive to kill the farmers. Why don't we just starve them out? This is how they think. And you're not dealing with nice guys here. And this isn't just them. Those are names. But this same thread of totalitarianism is alive and well right now. And listen to Klaus Schwab. I mean, the guy sounds like Dr. Evil on the movie. I forget, with Austin Powers. He literally sat there and said, "Whoever controls AI will rule the world." I'm like, what am I listening to here?
Yeah.
I'm listening to Austin Powers.
Does sound like he's in a movie.
This is reality. Oh, he's
I know.
Look at Soros. I mean, Gascon is letting murderers back out on the street. I mean, innocent people are getting killed. Do you know in San Francisco right now, many of the workers don't even want to go to work because they say it's too crime-ridden. In Minneapolis, there was a police force. They just shut down.
They have no more police. Right.
No more police.
No, you're right. It's just chaos.
Chicago's a war zone. It's an absolute war zone. And
Washington
I love Chicago.
Stores. Washington go in stores that rip everybody up and walk off in gangs. That's despicable. And they're told to do nothing, just let them do it. Disgusting.
Yeah,
it
is disgusting.
Really
You're right.
Oh, sure. And here's some more eye-opening. If you defend yourself, you'll get arrested.
Yeah. What's that about?
You pull out your constitutional right on a firearm, you'll get arrested to defend yourself. I know. I was talking to an attorney not too long ago. He was bragging to me about how he's getting a guy off with just a misdemeanor after he got busted for 6 or 7 felonies robbing people.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I said, that's really
nice. Right.
I mean, it is good. Attorneys can get you off on certain things that you didn't do. But, stuff like that, it's like, that really raises an eyebrow. It's like, this is how the legal profession works. It's there's some very good attorneys, but there's also some pretty slippery ones.
Not so much today.
Hey, PK, you had some other questions. You had some other questions for Jeff.
I've had a couple of clients asking me, of course, everybody's interested in England and what's going on there. Do you see Charles? Do you see King Charles being around for a while? Or not?
God, I don't know. I mean,
there's something that doesn't fit right there. That's why
I would say he's going to be around for a while, but he's going to have some real tough times here in the next few years, is what it shows. Probably around 3. Yeah, he could have cancer or something like that. Especially if he can't get his adrenochrome. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, they were asked about that. Of course, everybody wants to know about Meghan and Harry, and they keep asking me about it. What I see doesn't even smell good.
Yeah. I don't know. I really haven't looked into them. I'd have to really look at their charts, but I would say, I don't spend a lot of time on the royals. I got too many people looking at other things. But,
I agree with you, but the questions are asked, so you try to fill in the answer.
Yeah, I get it.
But,
I certainly could.
Are there really children or are there not children there? And going, oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people ought to be really concerned about whether or not their cities are going to burn here soon. But, not that I'm here to tell anybody what to do. But I would say, what's really important is that, look at Rand Paul. This guy is exposing Fauci, and his office gets burned. He's had threats. This is what we're dealing with here. We are dealing with some really nasty people, and they're very banded together. And it's all money. I'm telling you, it's all money from the top down.
They're all getting paid to do this. Sure.
But most of them they're supposedly our governmental people that are supposed to protect us. And instead, they're the worst instigators.
I think Rothschild said it best. He says, you give me control of the money. He says, I don't care who makes the laws. And boy, he was right about that.
And
this is going to take some people, you bet. This is going to take some people with integrity who realize, one of the things I see with Vedic and Naadi astrology particularly is karma. If people don't realize karma is true, temporary pleasures on the physical plane will come back to haunt you. Not that we all got to live, lives of stoic, asceticism, but on the other hand, people doing this stuff, I see it. In the Naadi astrology, and again, I'm just reading the ancient stuff. You see these yogas that people are born with. It's very interesting. They say the guardian angel attaches the spirit, psyche, and soul to the embryo at conception, not at birth. And when we exit the womb, that angel waits to tie the spirit, psyche, and soul permanently to the physical body at first breath. And if that's true, and I believe it is, because I witnessed my son being born, and I measure this kind of stuff every day, it's pretty amazing. Forget Trinity, Neo, and Morpheus. This might just be the true matrix of the soul here, at least one of them. And the ancients said the celestial imprints are not us, but it's the influences of karmic elementals playing out on the physical plane. So we do have, everything is not predicted and, fated, though it seems like it, because it seems that the ancients, especially the very knowledgeable ones, knew that if your consciousness raises above the sewer of what we think is reality, then all of a sudden you become senior to the karma, and you actually get in converse with angelic forces. And this is not a theory. There's actually documents to purport this. And this, again, you hear about many saints and prophets that did this, and rabbis. And the Hunas could do healing, amazing stuff. Nature spirits, all this stuff, everybody thinks, it's just a bunch of crap. I don't know about that. I know it's not. And that's why we have been duped. George was right. The tables are tilted, folks. The game is rigged. They've been lying to us and keeping us stupid. Well, who are they? It's the demonic forces that infiltrate people and put people in positions of power. Most of them don't even know that that's the case. And this planet is really a soul cauldron, in my opinion. And the Naadi astrology proves it. It proves it. I see when people pass away, you see the configurations of the moon's nodes and also the transits and progressions line up. And you go, well, wow, why did that person die? My mother died at 47. I'm like, why did she have to go? And I looked at the configurations, and boy, it fits the Naadi astrology absolutely to the T. To the T. I see this all the time. Pass away, and you wonder, why did they pass at this age or that age or this other age? And there's really, the matrix of astrology is not us, it's the influences upon the soul. And I think the spirits have wanted to keep us stupid, and they have. And the physical world, they actually say the lower conscious mind forms in the womb. It's referred to in the Aramaic and Hebrew as the nefesh, which means the lower interface, to the five senses. It's not us. It's not us. It is the interface we've developed. It's kind of like the steering wheel, the gas pedal, and the brakes. And what's interesting is we focus down here all the time, and the world suppresses us to it. Pay the taxes, get a good job, learn more, to act intelligent, look good, all this stuff. So the whole world is steering us constantly down in this lower vibration of lower consciousness. And yet, if any of us get in touch with the upper portion, and this is what the mystery schools are all about, and then all of a sudden we crack through and realize this is just a very temporary world, and it is. And that's why they say reincarnation keeps happening, is because we don't expand the consciousness, and the karmic elementals have to be dissipated. There's something very sacred about Earth. It's almost like a big, gigantic grounding rod for souls. And there's, for some reason, we need to be in these meat suits called bodies to carry out these lower karmic elementals. And it was really funny. I was with my son about a week and a half ago, and I had them put in a couple of grounding rods. We pounded copper rods 10 feet long into the ground, and we were grounding the electrical systems to it. And he looked at me and says, wow, that's really cool. He says, you mean the Earth is like reference point for all electricity? I said, I know. Isn't that cool? You think about the oceans. They're gigantic capacitors. Look at the mountains. They're silicon, quartz. Well, any computer and electrician will tell you that those are switches. And you look at ufology and you look at all this stuff. There are beings coming in and out of here. That this fabric of reality is so thin. And, you know, you see, like Skinwalker Ranch, ufology. This is all time portals, and time travel is really a real thing. And there's something about this world that wants to keep souls, because they parasitically feed off the negative energy. Many of the entities in the Yetziratic world, which is the dimension right above this one, they feed off of us. And when we come self-aware, this is what the spiritual doctrines talked about. You know, many people recognize in Christianity, he went into the desert, right? The devil tempted him 40 days, 40 nights. And then the devil became his slave. That sounds exactly like some rabbinical texts that I've read. How many people even get exposed to this? The priests, the rabbis, they're not trained in any of this. And the doctrines above them keep them from them. You know, that's
well, and again, there's just, like you've mentioned, the Vatican is sitting on a lot of really powerful information they don't want us to have. It's anything that disempowers the individual. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and we're running out of time. So, Jeff, I wanted to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you for private readings, gemstone consultations, etc. So, what's the best way for people to find you?
The best way is my website, jeff@jeffharman.com. And then I also urge people, check out our YouTube channel. It comes out every Friday. Sometimes we get a little late Saturday, but a lot of fun content on that, because we address a lot of things that hopefully can help people. Yeah,
your new money show sounds like it'll be very helpful, and that's coming out this week, you said, right?
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get it up Friday or Saturday. Yeah.
Excellent.
We're working on broadening out the podcast. It's not very old. It's only about 9 months old. And I've been wanting to do this for years, and I haven't, but now it's finally starting to get going on. So, yeah, it's Jeff Harman Astrology. Yeah.
Excellent.
Anything you do is always great.
A lot of work.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you again,
wonderful.
Jeff, for joining us tonight and giving us more insight about these crazy times and what may be coming our way and what we need to do about it. Yeah, it's our pleasure.
Yeah.
All right,
think,
everybody.
You know,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's okay. No, I really think, you know, we need to look inside, too, because no matter what this world does, and this world always does what this world does, each one of us come in here, the richest person in the world and the poorest person in the world will leave with the exact same amount of material and money. Nothing. The only thing we
Right.
get when we exit these meat suits is what did we learn? You know,
Right.
So open
Good
your
point.
mind and your hearts and study and learn and be aware. And you know, you can see what's going on. It's manipulation, very, very transparent to a lot of people.
Yeah, unfortunate but true.
Yes.
You know?
Well,
And that's
thanks
why I
again,
think there's going to
Jeff.
be a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah,
bet.
we can count on
Well,
that.
let's hope we're the phoenix rising out of the ashes in a couple of years here. By
I hope
225, we're going to know where the United States is going. And I would say fasten your seatbelts because it's going to get crazy here this next year and a half.
Wow.
I hope I'm wrong about that, but the astrology shows we're
I
some
don't
serious
think you're
events.
wrong, Jeff. I
Yeah.
think you're right on
Well, the
target.
astrology's usually right. Yeah, the astrology's usually right.
That's for sure. And so are you.
Yeah, well, I'm just a mailman. I'm just reading the charts, you know.
Well,
So
thank
Well,
God.
thank you
can
again for
read
your
them.
time.
yeah,
Take
you
care.
bet.
Night.
You both take care. You bet. So nice to talk to you both again.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
Jeff.
you.
And so we'll be back next week, everybody, with another great show. And until then, we'll see you on the Blue Highway. Good night.
Good
All right,
night.
you too. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural Girls.